So as we wrap up, I'm actually realizing it might just be until Saturday or Friday, depending on how I do the finale. There might be a couple of things. I don't know. But it's not that far off from this being over. Then I need to do another combined because I'm definitely going to combine. It will definitely not on TikTok. All of these are like 10 minutes long, which is the maximum that you can get on TikTok. But there'll be a really big one on YouTube being like throughout the entire series. So yeah. So, here's the interesting thing. I've got two long things to talk about. These two. This is the two-parter, this is one. So let's talk about this. So after the last episode and what sort of like the person who's in charge did, my nose. You might ask, why did this happen? And you actually see the background. And you actually see, back then, he wasn't so far off to Koro-sensei. A person who seemed sort of inhuman. While Koro-sensei literally has his inhuman strength, speed, all of this stuff, you see the other one actually is a finance person. Someone who has the money and does good trading to be able to do this. So in his spare time, sure, well, let's do a cram school. Why not? And you have a couple of people there. 3. And where are they? In 3E. Wait, he used to teach him there? But why does he have this thing? Wouldn't a cram school mean that these students aren't really as maybe trying as hard as some people who have? And you see them trying, becoming more attached. And one of them, the basketball person, the person who was like really into basketball and trying to have a one-on-one, actually did pretty decently. Doing better, doing good. And then he died in a car crash. You see the reason why, and I somewhat alluded to this, there was a big reason. You see the why. Again, do I agree with this technique? No, I think I mentioned that in the last one. There are a bunch of flaws in this line of thinking. But some people who try, and these are the reasons, does it solve it? Not really, but he's going through stuff of like his student dying and trying to get something that you think will work. Maybe if more people would try and have this 10% being pushed down a bit more, would mean that none of the sort of like car crash and this will happen. Because he was going somewhere. He was going to be like maybe like a basketball person, big, out there. But we don't know. I would say we do see 2 students there, which I think is really fun. But I like this small addition because it shows somewhat why. And you do get this with some others. I am actually going to mention this because you do see Miss Yelovich being like, I think at a young age joining this, and like some even one person like she's not having all the pieces, which I think is really interesting. And learning about why he was so stuck with this method of teaching is really interesting. Speaking of reveals, we have a reveal! Obviously, I'm going to talk about the other reveal, which is the backstory in the next one, which is his history, who he is. Wait, not the next one. There is a point where his history will get revealed, and it's really interesting. But we get... So, you already have Nagi, but you get this person, who is usually next to her. So she's pretty chill, pretty calm. And I think I mentioned something about her being the one thing that she did with her one, which is basically the dessert, the eggs or batter. What it said is either her sort of having some sort of like hesitant or something like that, which is really interesting. But here, we have someone else with tentacles at the back of their head. which supposedly may be there for the whole thing. And also, she's there, like Karma, because of a sort of being a bit, rather than what she seems nice, so she would probably be like, oh, she didn't do as well as the exams like some of the others. No, she was like, oh, I need to get a free because he will be there. And because she thinks he killed her older sister. And she was an actor. Hence why this came out of... The one thing which I would say, a lot of people are like, oh, sometimes it's really fun to get like, oh, a little bit lead. I'm fine with this because you get this ramping up. And eventually you would need to know this. And with this, having this sort of like huge thing of like really intrigue, shows something really fun. And I absolutely love it. I would do say it does somewhat, there's no like hints to it outside of the 2 episodes. But overall, I like it and I find it really fun. And it does bring character to one that has a sort of like, just like the really fun one to a more interesting one. Definitely when you get some things. There's already some things I don't get about the episode, but that's because like, this many hits, you like, Nagi-san to like distract her, sort of kisses her. Nagi-san distracts her by kissing her. I don't know if I said it a little. I'm bad at that, sorry. So, and it's like, oh, you could run with this many hits. I don't know what that means at all. So, that's the thing. But it's also, this whole thing. I also like there's these 2 people who somewhat are into, there's a thing about romance that they get involved with, and Karma's one of them. And when they start kissing, like, cameras up. It's like, we're still in a life and death situation, but sure. And it sort of then afterwards has those things out, which is interesting. You also see one person who has done the same thing again. It's the same person that the transfer student was seen a lot with, the person with the robes. I also think this is interesting because that means for the 3 times that they saw her, which is the 3 times that sort of he was there as the first time you get the second transfer student, the second one with the waterfall, and the third one with the secret like thing. They acted like they didn't know each other because both of them knew each other, which is really interesting. And I do like that. It does make it interesting of like, oh, Ray actually does do this, but she probably was like, oh, I'm probably going to stay in character. Right now isn't a good time. But be like, no, let's not do this because it's suspicious. She's trying to blend in, and I think she does this because the pain, because it's between her brain, is getting unbearable. And I think even like the driver, I know I'm badly saying this, I mean, I shouldn't use his name, is saying like that would be incredibly painful. So that's why this is happening. And I do like it, and I do find it interesting. But yeah. This is one series, I think I've watched this I've watched it so often, I do love this. And that's why, again, I'm going through these. But I do hope you enjoy, I do hope you like. This is nearly over. So yeah. Yeah, like I said, there's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and maybe Saturday, I don't know. I still need to think about what episodes I do on what days. So yeah. I hope you enjoy, I hope you like this video, and I don't know why, I feel like I need to do this for 10 minutes before theming. That means I've got like 30 seconds of like, so yeah, you like this video? You followed and subscribed. Sometimes I'm a little bit of an idiot, but yeah. I hope you enjoy, and good night.